So guess what? The conference starts now.
Woohoo!
So glad to see so many of you guys. For those of you who don't know me, which is like 4 of you probably, my name is Bill Anderson. I'm a lead program manager on the configuration manager team.
I'm Deb McFadden. I'm the group program manager, and we're pretty happy to be here today.
Why are we happy to be here?
I heard we shipped.
We shipped.
Woohoo! Config manager shipped today.
It's official. We can actually tell you we shipped. Yeah, you can blog about it now, Ed. You can actually
Ed, go
talk about
ahead.
it. Go. Remember, 500 tweets in an hour, though, and they lock you out for spam. So show some restraint. So this is the 10th MMS. This is the 9th State of the Union. For those of you who've been here before, you know the layout is actually pretty simple. Our goal is to try and spend some time to cover all the things that have happened in the past 12 months, spend a little time to maybe go pave the way for what's coming out in the next 12 months, and this session really serves to kind of kick off the week. You'll see lots of references from us around other sessions to go to. We've got 4 demos this year, so we're actually going to show real stuff that you shouldn't be able to see anywhere else at the conference. I do have to ask a favor, though, for Deb and I. Normally what happens is we do a bunch of cool stuff here. We think. It's a little self-gratifying. And then Brad does stuff in the keynote on Tuesday, and many of you in your comments will put things like, well, that's old news because I saw it in the State of the Union. We get in trouble for that.
Can you, we need to keep our jobs this year, so
yeah, don't
no
do
comments.
that. Don't do that, please. I don't know that there's anything we're showing today that we're going to show tomorrow morning, but even if you remotely think so, don't put that in there, please. Continue to blog about his tan and everything else, that's fine, but stay away from the other pieces. So for those of you who know the shtick, you know that before we actually start talking about the year and past, we always do something very interesting. For us, it's the top 10 list. This year, with it being a ship year, we decided the right focus for the list is the top 10 memories along the road to shipping.
I vaguely remember that first hairpin turn.
Yeah,
it was a doozy.
We joked about the fact that this thing looks all too familiar to what the past 4+ years has really looked like. So, top 10 memories along the way to shipping Configuration Manager 2012. Number 1 was actually kicking off this entire user-centric thing 4 years ago. Text is a little bit small, but this is the actual Think Week posting that our team did 4+ years ago to go submit this kind of idea around user-centric and what it was changing. And we were excited because Bill read it. Then we read Bill's comments. And Bill's comments basically said, wow, you guys identified a really tough problem, but you're not solving it. We told him to wait till we shipped. So that was kind of the first memory. That's where things kind of started. From there, we had to spend a little time to actually go re-educate the entire product team about what it meant to be user-centric and not to hate end users like we had done in the past for 17 years. For those of you who can't read the funny font, it says user-centric, not centered user, as he's got the poor guy hanging along the wall that he's been whipping. So again, trying to re-educate our team to be a little bit more user-centric and user-focused in the way we think about the software.
Number 8. So I've had the pleasure of working with MSIT for quite a few years and have gone through many releases with them, with Config Manager and SMS. And one of the things we took note of this year, it was actually kind of amazing because there was actually no drama this year. They actually just recently moved 5 of their servers over the weekend, and that was great to see. The drama that had occurred in the past was one time we took down the wireless network at Microsoft by dogfooding. So anything beyond that is just considered success at this point. The next one, we spent time with about 100 customers doing CFD visits, and we produced all these customer promises for feature areas in Config Manager 2012. And one of the key items that I always like to talk about was client health. And the last 2 years in the Config Manager 2012 overview presentation, I'd always talk about one individual and how they worked at MSIT on client health. Well, I said that he wouldn't have to work on client health anymore, and I guess we did such a great job that he decided to go somewhere else and go work. Bit of a mistake on my part, but we miss you, Paul.
Yep. So we not only taught our product team a little bit about user-centric, we had to spend a little time with these noisy folks right here in the front row, which are actually most of our MVPs, and really educate them as well around what it meant to truly be user-centric. So we implemented a program called the Hug an End User campaign. We started off with this really, really early. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is Garth, one of our MVPs. Now, I could have picked any one of the mugs from the front row, by the way. I've picked on Ed for too many years, so I figured I'd leave him alone this year. So we had this Hug an End User campaign. So we told all of them to basically go find an end user and just give him a big hug. The program needed a little tweaking, obviously.
I've seen that in action, actually, the running.
Exactly. Hug, I don't know, I'm not going any further. Anyway, so it needed a little tweaking. Our heart was in the right place, but we need to work on it for next time. We also need to focus on different names and acronyms. Now, we joke about names and acronyms because I think we spend more engineering effort around trying to get the right name sometimes than we do around features. But we've had so many names change in the past 4 years as we were getting ready to ship this. Just a few examples. There's a feature in the product called simulated deployment. That was pre-flight at the very beginning, and many people will probably still remember it by that. We had a role. The original name for the CAS was the CCAR. I can't even remember what it stands for.
I was trying to think. I think it was like
Central Console and Reporting or something.
Central Control and Administration Reporting. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even remember
what it was. It was a bad name. The developers came up with it, I think.
Yep. We talked a couple years ago about user-centric client management. We were terrified about that name, especially when we merged Forefront into the product, because we weren't entirely sure how you guys would pronounce that when it got put together. That's the same joke I used 2 years ago, and it had the same rolling little laugh to it. It's great. And then finally, System Center Configuration Manager 2012 became System Center 2012 Configuration Manager, which is interesting, but I've never seen a word that you can acronym with a date in the middle. So I don't even know what that one looks like.
In the last 4 years, a lot of world events have occurred, some of them natural events. You can see some of us experienced the volcano a couple years ago. Some social events. I think Kate is now pregnant. I heard it. I saw on some newsstand. And the last one, I think the next family vacation for us is going to see the oldest living tree in Sweden.
Very good. I'm excited about a squid with elbows. I think that's just kind of funny.
Yeah. The next one, we kind of joke internally about the fact that I think we've shipped 4 times now. Once internally in December, we were ready to ship the product. Then we had a ship party on a ship in Seattle in February. Shipped the bits off to our release managers at the end of February. And today, we're done. Whew, so that's what we look like right now.
We finally mean it after too much partying. All the amazing time spent with our TAP customers. First of all, I can kind of see, but show of hands, how many of you are one of our TAP customers? Very good. And I always will constantly say this, thank you so much for making sure that we kept the quality bar high and shipping the right product for all of our customers. All attributable to you guys. Thank you for all the painstaking effort. And we would go send engineers on site to go work with our TAP customers. And we always learn a lot, and it's always kind of fun, but we always have some really weird stuff go on along the way as well. It's like, for example, we had one PM who got lost in the Parisian subway, took a wrong turn, and ended up completely lost and couldn't find his way back. We had another one actually over in Germany who got 2 parking tickets in 2 days, which is a pretty impressive feat. And then we kind of had a tendency to maybe leave some things behind as well. So one of our PMs went to Texas and left his gallbladder behind. Literally, he got down there and had a gallbladder attack, and they removed his gallbladder. He didn't tell us. I had to call his wife and go, I don't know where the guy's at. But yeah, he went down there and came back sans 1 gallbladder.
That's a little bit of a dedication, I'd say.
That is dedication, exactly.
Left my gallbladder in Texas.
Or a statement about the TAP customer he was on site with.
There's that too.
And the number one thing, and number one memory for us, obviously, along the road to shipping, is actually getting here and shipping the greatest product in our team's history to you guys, the greatest customers in the entire world. Thank you guys so much. All the feedback, the downloads, everything you've done to make this thing something that we are incredibly proud about. And this week, really, I mean, we're celebrating all of System Center, but for many of you, and especially our team, it's about shipping literally the biggest product in our product history. So I would also be remiss to not mention the fact that we lost a very dear friend along the way as well. For those of you who know and remember Brady Richardson, he passed away coming up on 3 years ago with colon cancer. So wanted just to kind of go, give you guys a reminder as you're out there celebrating tonight, have a toast for Brady and think about him because he was such a big part of this. The first top 10 list ever was 9 years ago on this stage, and it was he and I that kind of kicked it all off, so it's kind of funny. I always think about him this time of year.
All right, moving on. So we're going to talk a little bit about Config Manager actually shipping, noise that's happening around that event, and then we've got lots of friends that are helping us make sure that it gets out there. So let's go ahead and get started. Some of the engineering facts. We like to spend a little bit of time just talking about what it took for us internally to produce this. You see some fantastic stats with our test team talking about how many VMs they use. I don't know why Lamar keeps requesting more hardware budget because it looks like there's plenty up there. The other fun things that we do is spend a lot of time after hours, quote unquote. Usually twice a week at certain points in the the development cycle. We spend a lot of money on some food to make everyone happy. Birthday cakes, babies. There's a lot of babies that get born during this time frame, so I can't explain that entirely. But lots of work that goes on behind the scenes to actually produce a DVD. Talking a little bit about what's outside of that DVD and things that we do additionally. One really great thing that we did this time around was we ensured that we didn't have to install separate language packs. So you're used to shipping RTM in English, and then all our international customers have to wait, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days sometimes. This time around, and I have to qualify this because my LOC person was nervous about this. This time around, we are sim shipping all of our languages with our English RTM release. This is huge. It's a big architectural change that we had to take, but don't expect that for every release. Outside of the language packs, we've also done the management pack, the configuration pack, the toolkit is out there, and more on the SDK later, but it's coming.
We talked a little bit about the TAP customers. This is always the big splash screen, and we cannot thank that group of customers enough for their time, their commitment, and their dedication. As always, there are certain customers who, due to legal and other things, can't disclose their logos, so we just put little placeholders to go indicate we had an auto company, and there's a petroleum company, and there's an education company, and a few others that are there. But for the rest of the names are known to many of you and are probably sitting in the audience today. So as always, a huge thanks, but it's not just about being involved, it's actually about what they did. 25 customers, 11 countries, 450,000 clients on RC2 before we did GA. I remember standing up here a few years ago when Altera shipped 7, they took credit for the fact that because they deployed it internally at Symantec to 6,000 systems, they thought it was ready for the enterprise. This is what we want to continue to commit to be ready for the enterprise, is numbers and involvement like this for pre-deployments. Some stats there, I'm not going to read the whole slide. The biggest thing for me is 190 end-to-end scenarios that our TAP customers tested for us to make sure that they were using the product like all of you do, getting that breadth of coverage to make sure that they found bugs that our test automation software couldn't find. Obviously, DCRs, everyone loves design changes. We took 37 explicit ones from the TAP group. To me, it's more interesting all the times we'd sit at war trying to take a DCR in and how many times it's like, oh yeah, TAP customer foo really needs this. And so it's not just tied to those numbers, it's that constant reminder in our head about what's critical to have inside the product. Some validation highlights. I'm an app model guy, so I'm super happy with the software distribution. 2,200 apps. We had one TAP customer who modeled an app with like 30 or 40 relationships, and it actually worked. It was awesome. Great work on hierarchy as far as broad deployments for hierarchy, and great work as far as running migration jobs, over 650 migration jobs to make sure we could move all of your stuff from CMO7 along. And of course, as Deb alluded to earlier, our first best TAP customer, which is MSIT, 287,000 managed systems before we shipped. Great infrastructure reduction, specifically in the area of secondary sites to DPs by being able to kind of get better controls the way they need them. All virtual, 98% actually hosted on Hyper-V. Great stuff with the app model. We used to have a proprietary packaging tool inside of Microsoft that frankly just did a bunch of things like detection method and requirement rules and relationships, and they've almost completely eliminated any need for that now because of the fact that the app model provides all of that. And then we actually, our user self-service portal at Microsoft will now actually be ConfigMan 2012's app catalog, or Get Apps as we call it. So we've got 340 apps already there. So it's great for them to always be out in front leading us and making sure that they're a good conscience for us across campus. So I want to kind of stop there. Enough rah, 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 rah. let's have a little bit of fun with the technology. Now, we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and marketing wouldn't let us do it, because they're like, you can't go out there and compete with ConfigMan 2007 when we still have to sell the stuff. So we said, okay, fine, we'll wait. But now that we ship ConfigMan 2012, we can actually do this. So we want to do a dueling console demo. We want to have one person, which will be Deb, driving the new, hot, improved 2012 console. And then we're going to bring out everyone's favorite, Wally Mead, to help us out. And he's actually going to do everything in Config Manager 2007. Wally! Doesn't he look nice today?
I look great. Howdy, everyone. Hey, Deb.
Hey.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 reasonably common day-to-day scenarios. I'm going to challenge these guys with the scenario, and they're each going to do it in their own console. And we're going to see who gets done with first. The goal is, we hope, Deb, no pressure, we hope that doing these tasks in Config Manager 2012 is simpler and quicker to do. So, okay, man your consoles, or person your consoles.
We don't mind audience participation either. You can cheer us on.
Yeah, cheer them on. Let's hope this one wins, right? Okay.
Deb's still got an Ethernet cable, though. She's cheating.
Oh, yeah. Scenario number 1. Simple task. You guys need to be able to go in and edit or add an item to hardware inventory today, specifically the Win32 service class, and all attributes. Simple task. Go edit hardware inventory so we can collect that new information. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Go. What you doing, Wally?
I'm going to my SMS defmov file, opening it up in Notepad, the world's best editor, after Edlin.
Did he just say that? Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to, where's my, oh, there's the mouse. And I got to go find the Win32_system account. Maybe I should spell it correctly?
There you go. Are you telling me that there's room for error when manipulating a Notepad?
There is for me. I found it.
Okay, so now what are you going to do, Wally?
Now I got to go change all these. You wanted all the attributes. I got to change everything from false to true.
Seriously, all of that work just to get this, you're done, aren't you?
I'm just hanging out.
So Deb, how was this so much easier in ConfigMan 2012 than it is in the defmov?
Look at this lovely UI I have in front of me. I just went into the administration node, client agent settings, picked the hardware inventory default setting, and then searched for system, found my system account, selected that, and all of the subclasses were selected, so I can just press OK, and I am done.
One search string, one click, complete, and no chance to typo.
Not usually, no.
I had a typo.
You finished yet, Wally?
Hey, I'm there. I am done.
Very good. So I don't know about you, but round 1, ConfigMan 2012. Simpler, easier, less error prone. Oh, I got downstage on my arrows. Sorry. Scenario 2. We had some weird administrator for the past few weeks who was in creating a bunch of just random stuff. We've summarily fired them, thank goodness. But what we need to be able to do is go through the console and go find all of the applications that they created. And when we find them, we want to be able to remove them. So very quickly and easily find the stuff that this administrator made and then be able to remove it out. Make sense?
Okay.
Ready? Go. Wally, what are you doing?
I'm going to go run a status message query to find out that rogue administrator. And somebody told me that they created one called Wally. So I'm going to go show all the status messages for what Wally did over the past week. So I'll go type in my credentials, and you wanted the last week. So I'll go here and pick week. Wow, that's a lot of stuff that Wally did. And you specifically said a package?
Yeah, packages, apps, anything that could be destructive.
Okay, so let me filter on created a package. Okay, it looks like he created 6 different packages.
Sweet, Wally, so just go delete them right now.
Okay, I got a package. I got to go over to my console over here.
Wait a minute, you mean you can't delete them right there?
Nope, I got to go over there and find them.
Deb, please tell me you've got something better than that.
I'm hanging out here. Yeah, I just did an all object search, found everything that my administrator had created, did a nice little sort on object type, and here's my applications. Guess what? All I have to do is right-click and just start deleting away.
Wow, so not only quick and easy to find everything, but immediately actionable when you get to it.
Yes.
Round 2, ConfigMan 2012.
Yay!
And the most important thing, do you know why this feature is super cool? You guys told us to put it in the product. If you remember 2 years ago in State of the Union, we showed universal search as a prototype. We showed you guys some early thinkings of stuff we had, and you guys told us that that would be a beneficial feature to you. And so listening to your feedback, putting it in the product, and then adhering to what we wanted to do in the product console. Everything is actionable when you find it. Okay.
Lucky guess.
Cheer up, Wally. You'll get her on this one.
I'm
Okay.
This
There's
is
another
great.
chance. There's another round. Maybe I'll do this one.
Scenario 3. This should be a really simple one. The event has grown so large here in Las Vegas, what we want to be able to do is to take our existing config manager hierarchy, and we want to be able to go have a patch administrator who resides here in Las Vegas, and that person only manages the systems in this particular geography. So we want to create a person, and we want to define that they can only do patch stuff, and then we want to be able to restrict them to a certain group of systems that are really just here in the Las Vegas geography. You guys ready?
Okay.
Make
I
sense?
can't wait to see this one from Wally.
She sounds skeptical, Wally. Well,
yeah.
let's go ahead and get started. Wally, how are you going to start this task?
I'm going to go and send an email to my purchasing department, and I need to order new hardware, operating system, config manager, and SQL Server to put a primary site server down in Las Vegas, because our security system in 2007 just doesn't lend itself well to managing that uniquely. So,
You know what? No offense. I think you're going to lose this one.
okay, I lose.
Why don't we just have Deb show us exactly how she's going to do this in Config Man 2012 then?
No problem. Wally, take note, okay?
Okay, I'm watching.
Here we go. Administration. I'm going to go into security. I'm going to choose an administrative user, and I want to add a new one. Wally, you want to be the administrator over there?
Do you want to be the admin?
Well, here in Las Vegas.
Sure. Okay.
All right. I'll add you. Check to make sure you actually exist. And
Oh, I
then,
exist.
He's there. He's there. I'm choosing the software update administrator, one of the, what is it, like 13 roles or something like that we ship out of the box. And what I want to do is make sure that he only can work against the Las Vegas devices. So I'm going to go to my device collection, choose that, and here's Las Vegas. And with those simple clicks now, he is the software update administrator in Las Vegas.
I have rights. Very good. Thank you.
Done.
Round 3, Config Man 2012. Great. We're hearing lots of positive feedback from customers on this because it allows you to do just that, reduce a lot of your infrastructure, which is great. Scenario 4. You're going to get her this time. I feel really good about this one. Scenario 4, Patch Tuesday readiness. So one of the things we all get in the rhythm of Patch Tuesday, and we want to make sure that all of our devices are healthy and ready so that we can have a high degree of success for Patch Tuesday. So what we want to be able to do is just to go assess our overall client health. We want to be able to then find any machines who for some reason aren't currently healthy, and then we want to get those fixed and remediated so we're ready to go for Patch Tuesday tomorrow.
Okay.
Ready?
Gotcha.
Go. What do you do, Wally?
Oh,
I'm going
we're
to go
going?
run a report to find all my clients that have not communicated in the last few days. That report is right here. I'll go and run this report, and I'll say 5 days. And then we'll go ahead. Why are people laughing?
I'm just coming over to see what you're doing
I
over
think
here.
Deb's done.
Hey, wait a minute. That's my computer. So I know that one's good. I was just on that computer, so I guess I have maybe need my tennis shoes.
Why do you need your tennis shoes, Wally?
Well, I'm guessing these computers I know are working, so I'm guessing I have WMI problems. I have to go fix WMI. So I need to go script some solutions there.
He's a fast runner, though. It may not take him too long.
You know what? You've worked really hard this week. I don't want to see you have to go run out there and go find the trouble machine. Let's let Deb show us how we can take care of this a lot easier.
Come on over here.
So what do you got?
Well, it was actually 2 clicks. I had to move from my administration node to my monitoring node, and then I chose client status, and voila. I've got all of my status against active clients, what's been remediated, and you know that little problem that Wally had where he had to go out and search for, or actually go try and fix the WMI problem?
Uh-huh.
What I have here is a nice little query that shows me all the checks that have been done against clients, and here's some remediations that have been successfully completed. I think I've got one, it's either up, down here a little ways, wasn't that WMI problem? Yeah, actually it wasn't a problem at all for me. I just sat here and watched it remediate by itself.
Wow, very nice. So even if there are ones that have problems, you don't have to go touch them, huh?
Absolutely not.
Outstanding. Round 4, Config Man 2012. Wally's got one last try.
I'm confident.
I'm almost polling for you at this point.
Just type fast.
All right, I'll type really fast.
So the last scenario is Simple Patch Tuesday. It's Patch Tuesday, and there's a bunch of really critical updates that we need to do. We need to make sure that those updates are approved and deployed out to the appropriate systems in line with our normal processes that we do every month. Sound fair?
Okay.
Got it.
Well, not really, but go ahead.
Okay, go. What are you going to do, Wally?
I'm going to go to my software updates. I already have a search folder created to show me all my Patch Tuesday updates. I'm going to go select all those updates. I'm now going to go ahead and run them through the DSUW. In my Distribute Software Updates wizard, I'm going to go ahead and select my deployment template, which is my standard one I use.
Oh, sweet. So the templating, you're all done now, right?
Yeah, well, almost. I'm going to add these to my package that I want, Wally's updates.
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. We have a template that you still have like 17 steps left?
No, I only have 4 more.
4. Deb, please. Can you please tell me
take
that
a
we
little
can do this
break.
in a few less clicks? I mean, you're obviously comfortable. What did you have to do?
Well,
Deb's on vacation.
I put my hat on, I had a drink, and then I just popped over here to Software Library Node, went to my automatic deployment rules that I created once, and defined an automatic deployment rule where any critical update for any time that comes through on software updates, I get it automatically deployed. So I'm pretty much done.
So everything that he still had to manually go fill in, you automatically had in the deployment rule.
Yeah.
Wow. Once again, round 5, ConfigMan 2012. Trying to make it easier and simpler for you guys so you don't have to do a lot of repetitive tasks. Simple, somewhat comical demo to kind of hopefully highlight some of the engineering investments we've made in the past 4 years and how hopefully they're going to help you guys on a day-to-day basis. So, Mr. Mead?
Sounds like I need to go take some of those hands-on labs this week.
There you go. Wally,
All
thank
right.
you so much for the help. Wally Mead, ladies and gentlemen. Wait a minute, Wally.
Wait,
Wally!
Wally!
One last thing. I have a question for you.
Question
What
for me.
happened on April 6th, 1992?
I went to a party at the Marriott Hotel in Dallas, Texas.
Really?
It was Windows 3.0 launch date.
Anything else happened on April 6th, 1992?
That was the day I started with Microsoft.
Exactly. Everyone join me in congratulating Wally Mead on 20 years at Microsoft last week.
Thank you.
So, that's his 20-year award. It's in my office. We were going to bring it, and then I started thinking, that's like a 35-pound piece of crystal that's got a sharp point on the end of it. TSA
And then the airline would charge me extra to lug it back home?
Exactly.
Yes.
TSA is going to frown upon that. So it's back in my office. We'll get it to you when we get back in
All
town.
right, very good.
Thanks,
Thank
Wally.
you all. Have a great week.
Congratulations. All right, so like I've said, beyond kind of shipping a CD and being engineers during the day, we sometimes turn our energies towards other activities like writing, producing. So blogs from the team, this is from product group members themselves. We have about 66 that are out there, I think, last count. And some of the favorite topics you can see where people are really focusing on admin console stuff, learning about this user-centric thing, hierarchy. Oh yeah, we included a security product this time around. So, people have some questions about that. The thing I wanted to highlight is that just beyond writing, we are actually producing, and some of our program managers went and started producing little vignettes. So there's 30 video demos that are out there for people to check out. So definitely go see what's new with Config Manager and how to use it.
Oh gosh, I forgot to build the video demos. Yes. Click
He's
monkey
my
failed.
click
Sorry.
monkey. He said he wanted to take control of the clicker.
Sorry. It's a remote. It felt normal. Sorry. Okay.
All right. So my kids and I like to play 20 questions, so I had to throw in a 20 question kind of thing in here. What takes 8 VHDs and 325 pages of documentation, Bill?
My demos normally, I think. I don't know, Deb.
Sometimes.
What is it?
The TechNet VHD labs. This is something, and we like to call them just Wally's labs internally because that's what he does best. So 13 labs that you absolutely can't miss. These guys, we've been working on these since beta 1, so they are well refined, I'd have to say at this point. Go check them out. We've had great comments about those. I'm writing for the next documentation team. This group of individuals is completely dedicated to making sure that they've wrapped some great documentation around the product. They have listened to your feedback. They reduced kind of the number of guides that they had. So there's 6 guides with over 400 topics, viewed many times. It's actually ranked a little bit higher than the 2007 content, which is good news for us. Again, some kind of the top 5 topics, what's new, introductory type topics, which makes sense at this point. The one thing I wanted to highlight was something that they've just recently rolled out. I want to say it's since February. They've done a Config Manager Wiki. And what they wanted to do was try and promote the ideas of, sometimes like we don't really support editing the SMS defmof. Not that we have to do that in Config Manager 2012. But there's some things that you guys all do that the product group doesn't officially support, but you want to get that information out to folks. That's just one example of things that you can put on the wiki. So I put a hyperlink out there. Go check that out. They've had a lot of activity, and hopefully they'd like to grow that with the community and all of you guys sitting in this room.
Direct access to the database, hacking the site control file, all those normal things. So.
Other top discussions from the TechNext side, this is a combination of Config Manager 2007 and 2012. Our favorites are always up there, the general bucket, operating system deployment, setup. These are things that actually kind of correlate to our red zone issues. So hopefully as Config Manager 2012 starts to roll out, you'll see a lot more improvements, and maybe we can switch that order around. I think this order's been in the same stack rank order for like the last 5 years, so I'd like to see it change a little bit. On the MyIT forum side, this is more data just really focused on Config Manager 2012. Some of these questions I really enjoy. I can answer them with one sentence, or actually one word replies. Can you promote a primary to a CAS? No. Others are a little bit harder to answer. Sizing, capacity planning, installation failing related to SQL. My other favorite one is kind of midway down. It says Config Manager versus Altiris.
I can answer that one.
I think you and I could both answer that one, but I'll leave it to the audience to go check out that. Generate some more activity for MSI for the MyIT forum site. But on average, I found it interesting. On average, people spend 72 minutes on this site, so they do a great job. And there's lots of great content out there on 2012 also. Bill's already kind of said it a few times. We couldn't have done it without these guys. Our MVP contributors, one of the first sessions that we had around Beta 1 of Config Manager, I remember all these guys being completely jazzed, telling Bill and I, keep it simple, we just can't deal with all this information. You guys, lots of complexity, and I should back that up and say lots of flexibility, which led to some confusing messages at times. And so these guys really helped us refine our message about Config Manager 2012, how we thought about it, how we talked about it. And we really like to recognize all the MVPs in the crowd that have their name up here. So MVPs, stand up. We'd like to give you a round of applause. You guys are great for us.
Come on, front row, stand up.
Stand up.
Garth, stand up. Great work, guys.
Thanks so much.
There's another group of internal partners who we work really closely with who provide a bunch of value add on top of Configuration Manager. One of the first and foremost is the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. So they shipped this morning. So just like us being generally available today, MDT went live this morning. I was out on SMS Talk and I saw all the people with the links and everyone's out there already downloading it. This is obviously super critical. It has all of the integration with Config Manager 2012 around the app model, integrated with the user device affinity. There's a few new features they've added in around PowerShell and a task sequence, some more extensibility for the user-driven installation. So a bunch of stuff that's out there. You should absolutely positively go download this. This plus Config Manager 2012 is a pretty powerful way to go deploy Windows operating systems. Another piece, another partner team of ours in the Solution Accelerator world has built and is releasing, this will be available by the end of the month, an application workflow solution accelerator. Inside the app model, we built a very simple approval inside the product, and then we built a set of APIs on top of it, knowing that business level approval was going to be really important to you guys. The Solution Accelerator team with Service Manager plus Orchestrator put together a great business solution for business level workflow for approving applications in the application model and Config Manager. Actually, Deb's going to do a demo in a few minutes so you guys can see where that's at. But that's going to be available Available RTW's out, or beta's out now, released to the web by the end of April, and they're still marching toward that date to get it in. Speaking of Orchestrator always has these integration packs for Configuration Manager. So they've released their updated integration packs for Config Manager 2012. Some features inside of Orchestrator around drag and drop designer functionality, as well as the improvements to the IP around our new collection modeling, our application model, et cetera. So you can get the biggest bang for your buck out of Orchestrator and using it with Config Man 2012. A couple of other ones. Virtualization seems to be taking off. It's kind of like the internet back in the 90s. I think it's around to stay. So we have a partner group who's worked with us to build the P2V migration toolkit. The biggest focus here with 2012, there's no upgrade in place. And so in many cases, as you're doing your migration, it's important for you to try and leverage or be able to preserve hardware investments. And that was really the goal for us working with this team, was to build a way so you could repurpose hardware on your remote sites. Bunch of things by being able to go limit local hardware by doing side-by-side migrations more easily, as well as some things they've done around WAN and bandwidth optimization so that as you're doing those remote sites, you're not having to pull everything back across the network. So it's been really, really beneficial to a lot of our customers. It's not a replacement for VMM. Pick the tool to use depending on your scenarios, but definitely a great way for you to kind of make the move and be able to minimize and reduce the overall hardware spend that you need to do out of it. Available now, also available now. Forgot about that. That same group also built a tool for us, did an integrated feature, it's really not a tool, did a really well integrated feature called Package Conversion Manager. As we changed to the application model, we knew you guys were going to need some assistance to be able to make that move. And so the goal really, you go migrate from ConfigMan 2007 to 2012. And then PCM really does the analysis as well as the conversion for you. They'll actually show you what things you should do, which ones you can do automatically, et cetera, and then actually help you in automating the conversion across the application model. And then go through your normal mechanisms to be able to deploy those pieces out. This is also available today, and these guys have a session on Wednesday later this week where you can go see all of the details around this. Although, we're going to bring them out in a second and do another demo too. Speaking of, so we've got two demos we're going to do here. Deb's actually going to do the application approval demo, and then we're going to have someone from the PCM team come out and show you how we can convert apps for you.
I think I got to wander over here now.
Yeah. See,
all right.
I just stand. It's easy.
So I think Bill and I, anytime we presented on the application model, one of the key questions we always got after we went through 20 to 30 slides was like, okay, that app approval thing, don't you have some type of hook so I can put it through my service manager system for manager approval or something like that? And we'd always have to kind of grimace a little bit and say, sorry. We were fairly pleased when the Solution Accelerator team at Microsoft came to us and said, let us build that for you. And we said, that would be great. So what I'm going to do is walk you through kind of three different personas. The first persona, I'm actually a developer that's requesting an application. So I've got my software, my application catalog from Config Manager, and I'm playing Robbie. And she would like to install Expression Ultimate. So all I'm going to do is just request that. Wait for it to load here a little bit. And load. That's taking a while. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there it goes.
I need it. That always works really well. I'm just going to submit that request. And now what has happened is with the application approval solution accelerator, once I install that, I actually I started pulling applications from, let's see, it's already up here. Started pulling applications from Config Manager into Service Manager database, and that request is actually being now pushed to Service Manager also. What I've built previously, now as a different administrator, as the Service Manager administrator, I've built these selection criteria, basically rules that tell me, hey, for this particular application or for this user submitting a request for application, here's what needs to happen from an approval standpoint. So I just want to open up one of these. I'm going to go into the developer application selection criteria. I've got some description stuff here. And you can see that some applications that fall into this particular rule set are Expression Ultimate, my users are developers. I can also define who needs to approve things. For this particular one, it's a line manager. And they can have different types of permissions, has veto rights, must vote. So that's pretty cool. The other cool things that I can see here are you can have particular selection criteria that you've created as test. You know, that's typical. You want to test it out before you actually to put it into production. So with this test one, there's some tasks over here that I can do, like, where is it? Run simulation. I can run through an actual simulation, make sure that my rules are right. Once that particular test item is complete and I'm feeling good about it, I can increase the rank. I'm sorry, I can, where is it? Move it to production. Change status. So I can move from test to production, and I can also move around the rank, either increase or decrease it. So that's what can happen from the service manager administration standpoint. Now to flip over to the line manager, who's actually going to approve it, I've got my service manager portal, I've got my activities. You can see that I've already completed a few of them, but now I'm going to just approve this pending request from Robbie. I've already got it set up here. I'm on this particular one. I'm the administrator, and I can go ahead and approve it. And I'm good to go then. Done. That's my app approval.
Very nice. So it allows us, one of the big goals for us was to make sure that you can actually change the way you think about delivering software. You guys as administrators spend a lot of time having to explicitly target a lot of software. There was some conversation with Kenny and I last week around too many collections and things like that. The goal would be is you can really start targeting at much higher levels of users and use things like business approval so that the business makes the decision. You don't have to explicitly target who gets it. You can just generically say that all my accountants need this, but it requires approval, and then let their line managers go in, cut the PO, buy the software, and get it for them. So again, trying to make it easier for you to target your software.
The other cool thing I was going to mention is that all these, when I do these approval requests and things like that, emails get flown around too. So the end user knows that, hey, here's the state of my request, and I can go back into the application catalog and go install it. So It's really cool.
Great. So the preview's out there now. You can download it. Beta's out there now, excuse me, and they're going to RTM by the end of this month. So cool. Nice job, Dan. Thank you. Good work.
Thank you, Solution Accelerator team.
Yes. Okay, so for the other half of the demo, and I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen right now, so bear with me. I'd like to invite Chris Adams out from our partner team who did our package conversion manager solution for us.
Hey, Chris.
Nice
shirt.
How you doing? Nice shirt, buddy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. You made me get a
wait a
Hawaiian
minute.
shirt.
Thank goodness.
We're good. Now we can actually continue.
Do you want me to take the tag off for you
I was
there?
going to say it's got tags and all. That is awesome.
Ignore the tag.
Straighten your collar up a little bit. The pictures will look better if you straighten your collar.
Yeah, Chris has groupies.
Do I look good?
I didn't even know this.
Do I look good? Do I look?
Yeah.
Am I ready to go on? All right. So.
And a big thanks to Christina for waiting in line at Macy's when they opened this morning so we could get that done.
Yay, Christina.
All right, so last year, how many of you were here last year at the State of the Union? Awesome. So a lot of you got to see the beginning stages of Package Conversion Manager, and what's really important there is we showed you probably the most simple scenario possible, and that was, can I analyze my package and programs and then simply convert those based on the readiness state? We showed that. But what a lot of you said is, that's pretty simple. It doesn't really work like that in our enterprise, and we totally agree. Now I'm really excited a year later that we can actually step you through some more complicated scenarios. And so what today I want to do is, I've actually got this primary site called Boston that's part of the Contoso company. And I'm going to go ahead and click on HR app here. So you can see that we have these different readiness states. For the definition of the readiness state, you'll need to come tomorrow. But for all intents and purposes, automatic's pretty much what it says. Click a button, walk away, and you have that in the app model. Manual, on the other hand, it's a little misleading in regards to the terms. Manual simply means we need your help. Package Conversion Manager needs you to provide some data to it. Doesn't mean it can't be done. There's actually a readiness state for that. So what I'm going to do is go and walk through what we call the fix and convert option. So if I highlight this and then I use my ribbon option for fix and convert, this will start a wizard that should be very, very familiar for all of you that are doing the app model. You can see that we have no unconverted dependencies, but here's where we run into a problem. And the reason that I'm having this is because of the fact that this is actually using a wrapper. So that wrapper actually has all of the logic and the data for the detection method, but we could not get to that. So what we need to do is go ahead and click Edit. This should be a very familiar experience. And so what I'm going to do is real quick, just to simplify here. Oops, I did the wrong desktop here. I want to go ahead and minimize that because I will make a mistake. So what I'm going to do is just open up one of those digests and actually say the detection method that we actually use is looking in this path. And what we'll do is go ahead and add this in here.
Is that Notepad again?
I know,
That's
Notepad is
Notepad.
not dead.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I wasn't planning to use it, but Wally, he convinced me backstage.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're going ahead and choosing this here, and we'll take the detection rule, put that in here as well. All right, click OK. I'll click OK. And one of the things that we also added that you don't see here, but I want to point out, is that we do have the ability to interrogate collections to determine your intent. And when they're embedded in those collections, we actually can convert those that intent into actual requirement rules. If I had any here, I would go ahead and select which ones I wanted to move over. In this case, I don't have any for this actual package, so I'll go ahead and click Next. I'll let it do some magic here. We're not focused as much on performance as we are accuracy.
Very
so,
good.
So just give it a minute here.
Nicely positioned.
Well put.
Nicely
It was definitely a big focus of the teams in general as people were going in the mind shift of moving away from collection rules in a database to moving them out of the application. Chris and his team has done an amazing job to literally go look at sample collections and the different WMI classes you guys would normally use to create a collection that might reflect something like a machine artifact, and making those moves across so you could really get to the requirement rules model.
So you can see that I completed that. So let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and minimize this. I'll go looking in the applications node. I should see an advanced payment. What's important here is I go to deployment types. You're going to see that when I look at the actual detection method, it's going to, sorry for the scrolling here back and forth, but you're going to see that now I provided that information necessary to move it over. Now, how many of you are actually going, are you kidding me? I got to do that for all of my manual. The answer is no. So one of the things that we added, you see this package conversion manager node here. You can go ahead and click on this. What this is really about is to help you follow your status. Number one is tell you what's the current state of all the packages and programs that you have in your environment. You can see here I have 7 automatics, 15 manuals, 9 unknowns, and 1 converted. I want to do close attention, if I can get my scroll to work here correctly, to something we called scheduled analyze status. Last night I went ahead and scheduled this to run an analysis. And the reason I did that last night is because our users in Katoso, I didn't want to interrupt their day-to-day business. So during the off hours, I scheduled that. That is the one time that PCM could be a little bit intensive in working with the provider. And so we now have the ability that you can say, listen, tonight I want you to go ahead and analyze all the packages so that when I come in here tomorrow, I have all of my statuses. Furthermore, what we wanted to make sure is that we could provide you a very easy way outside of the console to build your strategy for how you're going to move your packages and programs to that app model. We didn't want you to have to look at the console and make that determination. And the way that we did that is you open the report location here. FYI, I clicked that button that says generate a report, so you would need to do that first. But once you've done that, you can go ahead and open this up in Internet Explorer. And this could as well be emailed around so that you could strategize. What you can see here is this is a very easy way to see what the current statuses were when we analyzed. And what I really care about here is if you scroll down here, I can see all the command lines that are currently used for those programs. And one of the things that's really important is to understand is that we're all using this wrapper software install, which means that's why everything's coming back manual. If I had 100 of those, you did not want to click all those screens to make those work. That would just simply not be effective. Well, I'm going to show you that.
Config Manager 2007 style or something like that.
It's old school. Absolutely.
Old school.
Show us the new hotness, Chris.
I already did.
Not that.
Sorry. So back to the demo. So what I'm going to do now, now there's some people that have told me you never, ever do in front of this large of an audience open up Notepad. But I said if Wally can do it, I can do it. So let's go ahead, and I put a little note here. So let's just assume a couple of quick things. If you want to know how I actually built the plugin, you got to come tomorrow. If you actually want to understand a little bit more in detail how we're interrogating this wrapper, you got to come tomorrow. This is all smoke and mirrors, but it does work. But what at the end of the day, what I will tell you...
Did you tell him to do that?
No, not my coaching.
So what I'm going to do...
Under promise, over deliver. Don't smoke and mirror.
Come on. We got to have fun. All right, so what I'm doing here is this is the plugin that I wrote. Plugin app model to PS1. All right, so it's using PowerShell. You could use VBS if you like. I'm going to go ahead, and the default value when you install PCM is that we go ahead and we just add a value of blank. That's why the analysis engine runs fairly quickly. So basically, now that I've added my plugin to this config file, I'm going to go ahead and take this and copy it into the, let's just make sure one thing, Chris. Yep, I always forget to close that console. So let's close this up because that does need to load that new config. So copy here, and I'll replace it. I'll go ahead and open that console one more time. Now, what I've actually done now is when I run the analysis engine, instead of going through and using all the data that's actually in the SCCM database, I'm actually now going to detour. I'm going to go and interrogate my wrapper, find the information I care about, and create an XML stream file that I can then consume that's going to now take all those manuals and automatically flip them to, automatically, make them automatic. And so that's what we're going to go ahead and show you as our last demo here. So I'm going to go into Packages, go into HR, and for purposes of speed, I don't want to go over, Bill kind of rides me if I do. You could very easily select multiple ones, but and do all of them at one time. I'm only going to go ahead and do 3. And this scrolling's really getting. So I'm going to analyze this package. Now this will take a little bit of time because now I'm actually blocking and waiting on the actual plugin to come back and send me some data. So you're going to see that it takes a little bit longer, but the whole goal here is to complete this. This is where, Bill, if you have anything you'd like to add, it would be great.
I was just going to make a quip about the fact this is the first time in history that interrogate the wrapper has ever been said in the State of the Union. This is a new phrase. We have to interrogate
2012.
Interrogate a wrapper.
Exactly. 2012. So,
so it seems to be moving right along, though. It's not that slow.
It's not that slow, but it is a point where you want to fill.
If you did hundreds of these, it's going to take 10, 15 minutes maybe for it to go process through. But that's still better than the click streams and the chance for error all the time.
So now you can see that I have 3 that are actually in automatic, which really enables me to go ahead and convert my package. It enables that feature. I will go ahead and say, yes, I want to do that. Now we're in the really simple experience. Here when it's done, we're going to actually have the applications. I'm going to go take a look at one of them. And you're going to see that it actually has a detection method that was nowhere part of the package and programs. That was in my custom wrapper. And so you can do this for not only detection methods, but priority order. So if you have multiple programs or just a number of things. So if it, like I said, again, we're not focused on performance.
There it goes.
We're focused on quality and accuracy.
Yeah, and again, it's really a simple data mapping exercise. I mean, there's so many different installers and so many different, as Chris calls them, wrappers that are out there. This allows you to get the data mapping off of whatever your proprietary solution might be and then turn that into something that PCM actually knows how to be able to manipulate.
Absolutely.
And again, the big things for us, detection method, requirement rules are probably the biggest things to kind of get solved. And in Chris's team's research, they talked to a bunch of you and other large customers out there and realized that a lot of these wrappers were something that were pretty common to be able to be used. So I just like saying wrapper. It feels so hip.
That's a great job of filling the time, Bill.
So did it work? Please, did the smoke and mirrors work?
Well, if the guy that's driving can figure out how to use that UX, y'all, Bill.
Oh.
Ouch!
Hey, that was for that bull video he did last year. That's, payback, can be a little bit fun.
Yeah, but I didn't write the UX. That was a slam at the team, not me. That's not very nice.
Sorry, D-Jam.
So great.
All right, so if we look here, I'm going to finish this one last thing just to show that it's not smoke and mirrors.
Okay, got a detection method.
Detection method, there he is.
All right.
So you didn't see me do that, so now I've written a plugin. I'll actually have the plugin and some of the other information out on a blog a little bit later. Obviously not until after our session tomorrow, but that is Package Conversion Manager, which is now available, and it will also be available in all the server languages supported by the Configuration Manager 2012 product.
Cool.
Nice.
Thanks, my friend. Great work to the entire team, Chris.
See ya.
Thank you.
All right. Near the end. One other partner who's actually, they managed to ship before we did, which I thought was interesting. I was on a webcast with these guys back in January or February to announce the release of Flexair Admin Studio. When we started this project 4 years ago, we identified a couple really key partners we knew were going to be important to work with them to help make you guys successful. Some of you have other weird proprietary wrappers. Many of you are using mainstream products like Admin Studio. And these guys have done an amazing job inside of Admin Studio to really help with not only readiness, but the conversion across to the application model from their own view. So sitting in Admin Studio and all of the information you have at your fingertips there, they've really made it very simple, as well as made it very consistent and successful to make that migration across from your legacy software today, or legacy software packages, excuse me, into the application model. These guys also have a session. In fact, they're working with one of the TAP customers that they worked with. So definitely go see their session later this week and kind of get more detail on what Admin Studio can do to help you kind of get across to the application model. Finally, the road ahead.
Woo!
Now, because it's a ship year, the road ahead is kind of a short list. So we don't get a chance to talk a lot about the next 12 months, but we do want to kind of highlight a few things that are going to be going on. First and foremost is another key partner. We've been working really closely with Citrix. They did a great job releasing a connector for 2007, and the teams have been working together to try and get one out to you to be able to do XenApp integration with Config Manager 2012. Really 3 specific goals for it. First and foremost, unify the management of XenApp application deployments with your normal physical deployments, MSIs, AppVs, etc., aligning to our app-centric delivery, as well as being able to tie in for a single administrator experience that's there. Secondly, I want to be able to extend the reach of Config Manager from this kind of world of managed clients today to this broad array of lightly managed or personally owned devices, and Citrix is a great extension tool for that. And then finally, on the back end, actually do improvements around how we would do orchestration of software distribution in your structured data centers, like your XenApp server farm. So the teams have been working really, really closely on this. And at this point in time, I'd like to bring Tony Sanchez out from Citrix to actually show you some of the things we're currently working on. Tony, come on out.
Tony.
Thought we lost you there for a second. Sorry. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
He's got his Hawaiian shirt already on. He came prepared.
Yeah, he didn't need groupies to come running up on stage. So,
Excellent. Well, thank you, Bill. So we're going to go through a couple of demos that we have to showcase what we have for Config Manager 2012. So if we have that on screen, the first thing you're going to see is I have the interface open. So we have a couple of applications that are already pre-packaged. The first one is Office 2010. So if I click on Office 2010 and go to our deployment types at the bottom, you see there's 2 DTs that we've already pre-created. The first one is for AppV. Now, in a normal scenario, that application is delivered to that user's primary device. So stream down, they have it, it's there. But in our world, it's a little bit different. If that user is, that's out.
nope, it's there.
Good?
It's back.
Okay, great. If that user's on a secondary device that's not their primary device, the question is how do you get that app X to user Y in that scenario? So if we go ahead and we look at the properties of the AppV package here, just to prove what we have set up, in the requirements you can see that the primary device is set as true. So that user should get that if it was their primary PC. If we go again to the bottom here to XenApp, and we go to the properties here, once that pops up, we'll see we have 2 applications already published available for that user. We'll click cancel and go to the deployment types here. Now for Office 2010, we have 2 things targeted. We have the user collection as well as the XenApp farm collection.
So now I can see there what you've done is doing available software to users so we get that really great user-centric experience. But you've also done required to HQ, so that's actually deploying to the XenApp farm, right?
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things that the teams have worked on to kind of make that server farm orchestration even better?
Absolutely. So if we take a look under administration and go to client settings, you'll see here XenApp client settings. Now, if we go to the properties of that, what's really important to look at is what makes that application get delivered from Configuration Manager to the XenApp server. There's an awesome new feature here that we're leveraging. It's called agent extensions. Right now it's set to true. So what that allows the Config Manager to do is push that over to the XenApp server. At that point, instead of just delivering that app when there's hundreds of users logged in, we want to actually be smart about it and use our power capacity management to schedule the right time to get the application delivered.
Yeah, inside of Config Manager, what we do for that is it's a set of APIs that we make publicly available that allows us for software updates and application policy. It just sits persisted on that device. Even if you hit the required install time, it doesn't install. It stays persisted there for that device until an outside authority, in this case, the power management controller for XenApp, but it could be System Center Orchestrator, anything else, until that outside authority on that device says, go execute all, we call it idle policy. That's a bunch of terms. go execute all idle policy that Config Manager has persisted for that device. So unlike the kind of task sequencer, serialized scripting like we do today, it provides a really rich way to be able to do server-side orchestration.
Absolutely. So let's show how simple and quick and easy it is to publish this application from the Config Manager console. So the first thing we'll do is go ahead again and right-click on the XenApp DT we have at the bottom. Once that comes up, we'll see we have a publishing again. So we can go ahead and click New, and let's see what the process is like. So I'll publish out Access 2010. Now this interface here is very, very simple and easy to use from the user. And let's just go ahead and type Access. And we'll go ahead and click Next. Right here we can select the XenApp or AppV publication type. We've already pre-packaged this and sequenced it as an AppV format. So we'll click Next. We'll hit Access 2010 as the application we're going to do. Next. And literally it's finished. At that point, it's just a matter of waiting for those rules to go ahead and say when's the right time to take that application and deliver it to the XenApp server. So in the interest of time, we'll click Cancel.
And you guys, the teams in general have done a bunch of really rich work around this. I mean, there's so much XenApp information now at my fingertips inside the Config Manager console. On a day-to-day basis, is there going to be a need for these folks to ever maybe go to the XenApp console, or do they have everything they need here?
For day-to-day simple task publishing apps, it's all right there.
Perfect.
So let's show what does that look like from the end user experience. So if we bounce back over here, we have a secure laptop. Now, I'm logged into the domain, again, as my user. And now this is not my primary device. So the question is, when it's not that primary device, how do the rules kick in and how do I get that application? So very simply, if I go ahead and go to my Start menu, in the interest of time, we've already pushed down that application from ConfigMan to XenApp. So this user sees Excel 2010 in their Start menu. But if we go to a little document we have here, a classified document I've been working on all day, to them they're not going to notice any difference because the docs are there, but we're actually going to leverage Receiver and connect back into that hosted application on XenApp. Again, it's virtualized with AppV. Yep. So the application will come up. I've been working on my expenses from MMS. Let's see, I've got 11,000 total. I might want to change that before my boss doesn't
What's your
approve that.
budget again?
Wow, I'm partying with this dude. That's
We'll see you
awesome.
later
11K? Man,
Okay.
we get like $8.
That's right. I might want to change the travel a little bit here. Let's just modify that to like, I don't know, 400 to keep it simple.
So this is a centrally managed machine managed by Config Manager, but because it wasn't the primary device for you as a user, it made sense to give the application in a really lightweight, non-toxic type of way, easy to remove, doesn't leave a legacy around, but you still get this great experience for install and even for being able to get remote document access.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So again, that's that user on their shared device. That's not their primary. But what does it look like when the user goes home for the day? So if we simply minimize this window and go back to my home PC that I have down here at the bottom, again, I'm on my home PC. It's not a domain, doesn't have the Configuration Manager client installed. So again, how does that user get that application? But very simply going to the Start menu, we have Citrix Receiver enabled right here. So it'll pop up and it'll ask me to authenticate, make sure it says exactly who I am. And what I'll do is go ahead and let's do not edit account. So actually we'll click Refresh Apps. And what should happen is I should get prompted to log on, and I'll put on my credentials from the network, and click Log On. So that should authenticate me. Again, show that application here, and we'll give that a second to kick in. If we click Refresh, you'll see I'm back at that same app where I left off. So I basically smooth roamed from that device that was not primary all the way to my home PC and picked up right where I left off.
Perfect,
Very
great.
nice.
The teams have done a ton of work. So one last question. This is kind of cool, but when can folks expect to get it and where can they learn more about it?
Well, it's not available yet in GA. However, we do have it at our booth, so we encourage everybody to come by and check it out.
Everyone go see Tony and the team from Citrix. The teams have done some great work. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so a few more things, then I think we're wrapping it up. So we've got SDK, everyone's favorite. That's going to be available. There's a preview available this week. It should be coming out. You should get your notification soon. And we expect to RTM that in the June timeframe, so stay tuned for that. Lots of great information about Config Manager 2012, helping you make sure that you're developing solutions on top of us. Our favorite, we're actually going to do PowerShell or continue change or enhance our plan from what we had talked about previously, which is a good thing for all of you sitting in the audience. One thing that we talk about internally is our GM made us promise that it would be good enough for Jeffrey Snover to be happy, and he's the guru of PowerShell. So we've got a high bar to meet. We're going to be delivering that by the end of this calendar year, so stay tuned for more information on that PowerShell availability. The last little bit, we've just taken the last 4 years of our lives and spent quite a bit of time working on Config Manager. Through all of that, at times we would sit back in war team meetings or feature review meetings and say, wow, this is a lot. This is a lot. Admin console changes, RBA, hierarchy changes, adding security. But ultimately, we kind of feel like that's almost the easiest part.
Yeah, I think one of the things, we had a great conversation with our MVPs when they were out about a month or so ago, and I kind of left them with this thought, which is the engineering is really the easy part, for all intents and purposes. I mean, we work really hard and we take a lot of pride in being able to do that, but it's in your hands now. Your hands meaning you, the customers, you, the MVPs, you as a support group for each other in the forums. You know, one of the things we've done in this product that we have never done before is we over-disclosed everything early. Right? You're kind of bored at seeing a lot of the same demos purely because of the fact we've done them for 3 to 4 years. Why? Because there was so much change. We wanted to give you as much time to get ready for it. We wanted to get as early feedback as possible to do that. And so when Deb was going through blogs and forum coverage and documentation and everything else, we have never invested in as heavily as we have in this product around trying to get information out for you guys to be ready for this. Communities and MVPs are ready to go. I challenged the MVPs a few weeks ago when they were out. I said, are you guys ready for us to set about 100,000 customers and about 100 million managed Windows devices squarely on your shoulder? To be able to answer those questions, to get those posts back fast, to get you the information that you need to be successful. You saw the volumes of hands-on labs that we've done, the documentation work that we've done. We've also, Wally's been spending 3 hours a day for the past 2 weeks doing custom training for MCS online so that Microsoft Consulting Services and many of our services partners are getting ready for this. So this is a big thing for us, but we think it's a big thing for you guys too. We want your feedback, continue to use it, continue to tell us what's great, continue to tell us what stinks. You know, continue to be honest with us, and we will do the best that we can to answer your questions, give you the guidance to make you as successful with this product as we think we've been successful at designing it. So it's out there. We can talk about it now. It's GA'd. You guys should go get it downloaded. If you're a volume licensing customer, you had it 2 weeks ago, so hopefully you've already played with it. But get it out there. It should be easily available, and there's a bunch of information. And obviously this week is the big kickoff for it, so make sure you're covering labs and sessions. Speaking of, there's the generic related sessions list. There's 2 app model sessions you have this afternoon. You're going to see, I think it's 13 sessions on Config Manager, plus our partner sessions that are there. And Wally's going to be toiling away in the labs. We pulled him away this morning because we wanted to tell him congrats on his 20th anniversary, but we're going to send him back in the lab for the rest of the week. So he's going to be there to answer all your questions. So with that, thank you. Have an amazing week. Learn lots, celebrate, have fun, and give us a lot of feedback, guys. Thanks as always. Enjoy the week.